Welcome and thank you for watching. This is Afro Revolt. As always, we bring to you whatever is trending across the globe. Now, in today's video, I came across a white man who was making a confession on the ills that the whites did to the blacks during the ancient times, and he's really trying to throw the blame on the ancestors who were subject of the matter and forced the blacks to forcefully work in the farms without even pay, with harsh conditions that even claimed some lives. Now, I want us to watch this video with a mindset of calling for compensation or a change of how the whites can view the blacks in future, and building a society of equity where no one feels oppressed with another one. Now let's watch this and make a comment in the end.
Right there, how white folks got so rich. The untold story of American white supremacy. I mean, I just read about the Indian land grab, and I'm like, my gosh, man, good Lord. No wonder we don't want to teach the truth. No wonder we don't want to teach the truth. Because that means we've got to look people in the face and say our forefathers were the worst people in the history of mankind. The things that they did, that manifest destiny, that kind of mentality has been atrocious. What we have done to the African Americans. The estimated number of wealth that came from slavery, from free labor, and that's what it was. And they estimate that the amount of money that came from slavery was around $24 trillion. You can't even grasp that much money. The average person has a hard time grasping what $1 billion is. $1 trillion. Holy shit. And a lot of people don't want to admit the truth, because a lot of people also are scared that what happens if we actually do have to maybe pay reparations. Understand that everything, that beautiful Capitol in Washington, D.C. was built by slave labor. The majority of the churches in this country were built by slave labor. Our forefathers were lazy. And if they were smart, which they were, but the problem was they were cunning and sad. And I'm telling you, folks.
Now you know you ain't vote for Barack. We need to become reparationists. We need to make preparations for reparations. And I say that comes with us first making reparations a part of our culture. This should be a part of our lifestyle. And we should be demanding that reparations be given to us by whoever is in the presidency and by whoever wants to be president. And also by our local and state governments. And I don't think that means just waiting to the last minute of an election and saying that we're not going to vote for you unless you give us reparations. Nah. We should be getting behind candidates who already believe in this. And all you white folks who want to be down, baby, you better be reparationists too. That's the new question for your white friends. Do you believe black people should get reparations? See, reparations are not a capital gain. They're an ethical practice. Because in a society where advancement is determined by money, the only way to correct the systematic hindrance of that advancement is by providing money. Reparations are not some far-reaching thing that have never been figured out before. We need to stop looking at reparations as something we need to imagine. Consider them as something that is very real that needs to happen. What we need to imagine is what we are going to do with the reparations to make sure that our community and ourselves are taken care of. We need to become reparationists.
When white people in the United States balk at the idea of paying reparations to black Americans who descended from slaves, they disagree with the Bible. Reparations are a form of compensation or restitution made to those who have suffered injustice, particularly those in cases of racial inequality, discrimination, and slavery. The idea of paying reparations to black Americans is not a new one. It has been a topic of discussion for decades, if not centuries. However, it has gained renewed attention and support in recent years, following the resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement and the growing recognition of systemic racism in American society. As a Christian, I believe that reparations are not only a matter of justice and equity, but also a reflection of God's character and values. In the Bible, we see numerous examples of God's concern for the oppressed, the marginalized, and the downtrodden. From the Israelites' liberation from slavery in Egypt to the ministry of Jesus among the poor and the outcast, we see a consistent theme of God's love for those who are on the margins of society. One of the key biblical principles that underlie the idea of reparations is the concept of restitution. In the book of Leviticus, we see God commanding the Israelites to make restitution to those whom they have wronged. Leviticus 6:1-5 says, "If anyone sins and commits a breach of faith against the Lord by deceiving his neighbor in a matter of deposit or security or through robbery, or if he has oppressed his neighbor or has found something lost and lied about it, swearing falsely in any of all the things that people do and sin thereby, if he has sinned and has realized his guilt and will restore what he took by robbery when he got it by oppression or deposit that was committed to him, or the lost thing that he found, or anything about which he has sworn falsely, he shall restore in full and shall add a fifth to it and give it to him to whom it belongs on the day that he realizes his guilt." This passage emphasizes the importance of making restitution to those who have been wronged, and not just restoring what was taken, but adding to it as a form of compensation. This principle of restitution can be applied to the issue of reparations to black Americans who have suffered centuries of enslavement, discrimination, and systemic oppression. Another biblical principle that supports the idea of reparations is the concept of Jubilee. In Leviticus 25, God commands the Israelites to observe a Jubilee every 50th year, during which all debts are forgiven, all slaves to be set free, and all property to be returned to its original owners. This was a radical idea of economic justice designed to prevent the accumulation of wealth and power in the hands of a few, and to ensure that all members of society had equal access to resources and opportunities. The idea of Jubilee can be seen as a model for reparations in that it seeks to address the root causes of inequality and oppression rather than just treating the symptoms. By forgiving debts, freeing slaves, and returning property, Jubilee seeks to create a more just and equitable society, one in which everyone has the opportunity to flourish. As a Christian, I believe paying reparations to black Americans is only a matter of justice and equity, but also it is a reflection of God's values and character. Through the biblical principles of restitution and Jubilee, we see a model for how we can address the historical and
Now, the issue of racism should be talked about without fear or favor, because through racial segregation, Africans were subjected to situations that were unbearable. You remember during the slave trade, whereby the whites were put into farms and very awkward situations that forced them to work for longer hours without pay or compensation, and they could not even get well catered for in terms of daily human needs such as food and good shelter. So this was a condition that if we have to talk about it and tell the whites that this is what you did to us and you have to agree about it, then I guess we are in a good direction towards creating a good association amongst the blacks and the whites, and ensuring that we move together as one, because over time the whites have never come out clearly to say that this is what we did to you, and for us to be sorry, we are going to compensate you in this way, or rather we are now building or destroying the narratives of such atrocities that were done to the blacks, and we want to create a new system whereby blacks are not oppressed like before. But what are we saying they're doing up to even now? They have formulated another way of colonizing the blacks, which is not forceful as before, that we saw during the slave trade. But this one is now neocolonialism, whereby they still control the blacks and do not want Africa to be stable. If they see any country that is moving a step forward, they ensure that it is destabilized. Look at Congo. You can never find peace in Congo because of the minerals they have. So Africa, according to the Whyte, was meant to be poor and was meant not to have anything good in it. So for how long will we face such situations? That is what this video is trying to awaken the Whytes. You have to agree first that you did this to the blacks, and that is when you will know your mistake and let Africa be free. If you let Africa be free, even you as whites, you won't be in danger. Because let me tell you, as time goes, blacks are also coming up. Africa is rising beyond these oppressive moves, and if Africa would be on top as it is projected by some researchers, then a revenge might be possible, because it will show that we gave you time to agree that you molested us and also compensate us, but still you did not do that. So we'll also have to subject you to the kinds of situations that you did to us. That is a message that the whites should know. Now, I'm not talking harshly. I'm just trying to give out my thoughts on this video you've just watched. We are educating each other, because we need a society whereby we are free and equal amongst everyone, and no one feels molested. So I want to see your reaction on this video, because that is when we know that we are educating each other. Now tell us what you feel about this content, and most importantly, if you are watching us for the first time, remember to subscribe to this channel and also like and share. Thank you, and may God bless you.